hard because you're just like, why don't you understand this? It's so frustrated. I'm Val. I'm from Brampton, of course. I just graduated from York University and I work with the city of Brampton in rec, but also I do my at-home fitness coaching as like my side biz that is slowly turning into my full-time biz now. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. I love Brampton. I didn't as much when I was younger because I hadn't seen so many other places. I always felt kind of like I was like trapped here and there wasn't so much to do and whatnot. But the more I've traveled and gone other places, the more coming back to Brampton feels like home. My people are here, my places are here, my happy spots are here. So I do like it. When I think of Brampton boy, I think of all my friends. I don't personally identify with it just because I'm a white girl living in Brampton. There's this distinct character and person and vibe and like mannerism that even when I go places now and I'll say or do certain things and people are like, that's so weird. And I'm like, oh, I guess it's like a Brampton thing. Like, I don't know. Everyone's kind of like more chill and down to earth in Brampton, in my opinion. And it kind of is this weird anomaly when you go other places and it's not the same. And I'm like, oh, that's like a Brampton like person thing. The longest I've been away, I did go abroad for a summer for 4 months. I did a month in South Africa and then 3 months in El Salvador. So that was my first time ever living away from home. But other than that, like I live in my parents' basement right now and we've always been in Brampton. I'm in a weird place because originally I was planning to leave for Peru in the fall to teach there, but obviously travel is too risky. So I put in my applications to teach here, hopefully in Brampton or just somewhere around the GTA. But because of all the time from quarantine, it was kind of like this blessing in disguise where I got to see what coaching was like full time. And I'm kind of really loving it. So I'm really confused right now, like if I want to teach in a classroom or if I want to continue coaching from home or find a way to like mend both of them together, which would be really cool. So it's like definitely a transitional phase figuring it out. When I was really young, I did get bullied I had braces with like a headgear in like grade 4 or 5. It was like traumatizing. That's something you're going to get bullied for no matter where you are in the world. And I didn't let it last longer than a week. I was like, ma, like I can't wear this to school. But in terms of like high school, there's like little remarks that people would make because like I was one of the only white people in my school. If I get embarrassed, like I turn really red. And that was the thing like I got kind of teased about. I also got teased about my weight a few times, which is something that does stick with you. Just like as a girl in high school, when you're more self-conscious about yourself, to get like teased about your weight is definitely something that sticks with you. But never like bullied to the point that I didn't feel like comfortable or safe at school. There's a few common assumptions I know or think people make about me. One is the fact that I am a vegan, like I'm vegan Val. The assumption about that is that I'm very high maintenance or that I'm really quick to push my beliefs on other people. Also, Brampton, literally you can go to any restaurant and find a vegan meal or alternative, or if they don't already have one on the menu, people are so accommodating. Another assumption is that I'm a white, spoiled child. Something people would assume about me is that because I am white and I do come from a privileged family, that I don't care or understand bigger social issues, that I don't try to do my part to learn more about them, which is something that has come up a lot recently. So I'm an Aries, which makes me really fiery and like hard-headed and stubborn and just like, so I have to make it a point to calm myself, especially as a teacher. I work really hard on being patient and more calm. There's certain things that do trigger you as a person and makes you more argumentative. So I've learned when people say those things, instead of coming back on the defensive, more turning it into a constructive conversation. I'm a big person on asking follow-up questions. I'm like, okay, so why do you think that about me? Or like, what made you assume that I'm that way? And usually it's kind of that they're like, well, it's because you're like white. And I'm like, well, you can ask me if I've done my research or have done my part or like what I do on my spare time. Like you can ask and find those things out. A common compliment I get is that I'm very positive and like brighten people's lives, which is like this cool compliment that I used to shy away from. And I'm like, oh, but now I'm just kind of like, yeah, like, sure. Like, why not? But it's definitely something. I think it has a lot to do with just the role and job I play as well. My job is to make people feel happier and healthier. I joined Beachbody just as a way to do my at-home fitness because I was really anxious about going to gyms in public and not being sure what to do. So my friend was like, we have these 22-minute at-home workouts that you can do. I'm like, okay, perfect. And then I was going vegan at the same time. And the company had these vegan superfood shakes that had all the things I was missing and needed. And then I found out that you got 25% off the shakes if you were a coach. So I'm like, okay, like I'll be a coach just for the discount. That's it. And then a couple of my friends saw me obviously improving my well being and they're like, I want to do that too. So I went to send them off to my coach and she's like, well, if you're their friend, why wouldn't you just help them? And I was like, I don't know, I can't coach. And she's like, well, you're not making up the programs, you're just helping them get to the end. So I started just by helping a few friends. And then eventually I started putting it on Instagram and so many more people started getting interested. Before I knew it, I started working it like a side business. It's just evolved over time. And I feel like people in Brampton kind of like know me for that now. So it's been easier to grow that business because I've built that trust. So my demographic is definitely a representation of Brampton. I went to the Beachbody Summit, which is like this big conference we have every year. And to see like how other people's teams looked like versus what my team looked like was this cool moment. Cause like, even if you were to ever come on one of my team calls, there's people from all different backgrounds, different walks of life, different ages. It adds so much more value to the team. If we were all the same, you'd be getting one kind of perspective and viewpoint, but having so many different people contributing to what we're doing is just the best. It's really easy when your like business is in the palm of your hands to just get so glued and sucked in. So I make it a point like at a certain time every day I like shut off and I just do things for me. I'm an outdoorsy person, so I'm always like out in nature when I can be because it just makes me so happy. I love running at Ching Park, and then Heart Lake is really great for picnics, but I will go like further in the GTA and like look for like waterfalls or different hikes and things, which has been great now during quarantine, especially because I have worked in Brampton recreation for so long. I know that's been a huge part of community for me. But then also the team I have built, even though most of us are from Brampton and there are people outside, it's just that sense of a group of people all working together to meet similar goals and just caring about lifting each other up is like the best feeling of community. When I was a little girl in Brampton, I think I still had like a cookie cutter idea of what I wanted my life to look like. And when you're a kid, you only know so many options. I knew I wanted to be a teacher. And for me, what that looked like was just being in front of a classroom. You would leave there, you went home to like your husband and like cooked and cleaned. And like it was a very just like, I don't know, but I'm not like that. So as soon as I realized how many like different entrepreneurial opportunities there were in Brampton, how many different career paths I could pursue, the different people I could have in my life and like the different avenues, a lot did change because I felt like I appreciated everything we had in our community so much more. I am travel junkie. For a long time, I was leaving to go find different places that felt like home for me and places that I'd maybe want to move to and live and work. And even though I'll always want to travel and go experience other cultures, the best feeling ever is literally when I land back here and drive into Brampton. It's just this like feeling of home that nothing else compares to. And even though for the longest time I was so ready to leave Brampton, I've just gained so much appreciation for all that we stand for and are that I don't know if I actually would want to leave. Like I do enjoy living here and being part of this community. The older that I'm getting, going back to certain places where you just had so many memories, especially during quarantine where like I had no choice but to revisit the basic places I used to go to as a kid and all that like I don't know, like all that nostalgia is just in those spots is like I don't want to leave that. Like I like it.